Good morning. This is Faith in Our Hometown, brought to you as a community service and sponsored by Mercy Hospital, Joplin. And now, here's your host, Father Jay Friedel.
Good morning, everybody, and happy Easter for those of you who celebrate Easter. And if you don't, then we're really just flattered that you're joining us on this Easter Sunday morning, as many Christians throughout the world are going to celebrate today. Interestingly enough, some Christians celebrate a different Sunday on Easter Sunday, but most of the Christians in the world are picking today to stop and celebrate. I'll give you the great, Catholic old reading in Latin, resurrexit, sicut dixit. He has risen, as he said. And so we're celebrating today. My guest this morning is going to be Aaron Brown from St. Paul's United Methodist Church. Aaron and I sometimes do these holidays together because, well, we enjoy spending a little time with each other and being able to kind of reconnect. We were saying it's been a long time since we've had some time together. So what better day to celebrate a little bit than an Easter Sunday when we can share some of our joys about celebrating our little portion of Christianity. So we're going to be right back after this Mercy Minute. Don't go away, and happy Easter.
Lung cancer is the leading cause of cancer deaths in the U.S., and now we have an effective tool to screen for it. A low-dose CT uses a lower amount of radiation than a standard chest CT.
Breathe in.
Better detailed pictures than a chest x-ray of small abnormal areas of the lung. A person must be between 55 to 77 years old, asymptomatic, which means they don't have any symptoms such as coughing up blood, chronic cough, shortness of breath, unusual weight loss, or any other worrisome symptoms. They must also be a current smoker or have quit within the past 15 years, also must have a 30-pack year history or more, which equates to smoking 1 pack a day for 30 years, or 2 packs a day for 15 years. People generally avoid these scans, possibly due to fear of what could be found. Like many other cancers, if we can detect lung cancer early, it could be very treatable and life-saving.
Well, again, happy Easter, everybody, and happy Easter, my friend. Yes. It is good to have you back this morning for us to talk a little bit about Easter and just to kind of catch up. It's been a while.
Yeah, well, we always yell at each other, Christ is risen.
Well, there you go. That works.
And
do you smile when you say it?
And the response is, risen indeed, right?
Risen indeed. Okay,
Christ is risen.
Risen indeed. There you go. Yep. So. And my people just look at me confused when I speak in Latin.
I would probably look at you that way.
When I speak in Latin,
and
especially,
English,
they're like, and in English. Yeah, it's true. It's true. But it is a great day for all of us to celebrate Christianity, celebrating the Lord's resurrection today for us. Yeah. And again, even though it's celebrated in different ways and in different shapes by the different Christian family, different members of the Christian family. This is probably arguably the most important day of the year for all of us.
Yeah. You wouldn't have to argue that with me. I think it is too. It's central.
Yeah. Central. As St. Paul said, if Christ has not risen, your faith is vain. It's for nothing. Yeah. And otherwise, you and I are doing a whole bunch of nothing if today doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, it is a central point. I mean, I think Christianity is not. It's not based on teaching. I mean, that's a part of who we are as Christians, but I think it is really focused in on an event, and that event is the resurrection of Jesus. When the early followers of Jesus were talking about the faith, they talked about the event that was the resurrection. That was the hinge point of everything.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's, I'm now. This is going to sound here. I can start at the day sounding a little heretical. Okay,
a little,
just a little heretical. Sometimes my people, look at me like, I can't believe you just said that, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Is there a thing such as being
a little? Sure. Well, when I say it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But back in high school, I had this thought, and it was before I really studied a whole lot more theology. But I am going to say this. Sometimes I think that the person who was the most amazed on the morning of the resurrection. See, we got this relationship with Jesus where we really don't know, what did he really know, what did he really think. We've only got a few things, that we know that he passed down through his disciples. Okay, but I think that everybody says, well, who would have been the most shocked and who would have been the most amazed? at the mystery of what the resurrection was going to mean on Easter Sunday. And somebody would go, oh, was it the guards, or was it the women who went to the tomb, or who was it that was shocked? And I always believe probably that the human side of Jesus had to be the most amazed.
I've never thought of that.
And I thought of it in high school, and sometimes people are like, oh, Father, don't go there. And I'm like, I have to. I just cannot think about that maybe he was the most amazed at what God had done in the middle of all of it. Because I don't think that he was hanging there on the cross. The human side of him felt all that pain. And I think the human side of him that said, my God, why have you forsaken me? I know he was quoting the Psalm and and doing all those things, but the one that was forsaken in death is also the one that was raised to life. Yeah. And I think that human part of him, that how much did he know? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Nobody does. But the God part of him must have known everything. But how could the human side of him have known everything? And that part that was forsaken in death was now raised to glory. And when he woke up and was alive after all that, I mean, I just think it was probably the most amazing moment of seeing it all come together. All the dreams that he had, all the dreams that he had for us, all the dreams from the Father trying to love us, and redeem us and to bring us back into life. Yeah. I just always think about that.
Yeah, well, now I will think about that. I've never thought about it that way.
Welcome to my little heretical moment. So,
heretical moments.
But Jay and
Aaron.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. There you go. You can throw me under the bus on that. You don't have to share that one if you don't want to. But it's okay. But I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. There is so much in all of these things that we celebrate. And when I stop and say that, when you say it's the hinge pin, I agree with you 100%. How do we look at anything the same once we realize we've been caught up in the Lord's death and resurrection? And that's our life.
You can't look at death the same.
No.
And that's one of the great things that Christians carry with them. And there's no guarantee of following Jesus that you're gonna have a life that is free from suffering in any degree. In fact, I think choosing to follow Jesus brings on more suffering. Because you're choosing a life of sacrifice. You're choosing a life to say, well, my life, my time, my resources, they are not my own. And you're kind of bringing on suffering when you stand for people that can't stand for themselves, speak for people that cannot speak out for themselves. So I think you're bringing on that. But at the same time, you're like, hey, this life is not it. This life is a glimpse, a glimmer of all that life is and life will be. So death doesn't get the last word.
Never gets the last word, and I love that.
But I love one of the things that you talk about your kind of heretical moments. I don't know if this is a heretical moment or not. It's probably not.
Neither one of them really are, but it's kind of fun to mess with everybody on an Easter Sunday morning.
Don't mess with people.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I love the question that Jesus asks. It's in the Gospel of John. When Mary is there and she mistakes Jesus for the gardener, and Jesus says, well, what are you looking for? Is it what or who?
Who are you looking for?
Who are you looking for? Yeah. Who are you looking for? And I do expand that out to what are you looking for? Yeah. And I think that's a great Easter question, for everybody. What are you really looking for? What is it in life that you long for? I've got a friend who's always saying, the best way to solve problems for anyone in any situation is to start with, what do you want? And what is it that we want? What do human beings want ultimately? Whether you're a believer or not, a person of faith or not, what are we looking for?
Yeah. And I think that's...
I'm really asking, what are we looking for?
Well, I know part of what I'm looking for. I don't know the whole answer to that because I only know it to this point in time. And I think it changes. I think the answer changes for us at different points in life and, in the different ways that we grow and the different things that we're going through. I know I answered that question differently. The years that my parents died. And what I was looking for was the reassurance of faith, that they were still alive. Even though they died and I had to let go of them on this side, there was the reassurance of faith. And I know that at those points in time, I was looking for that.
Did you get that?
I did. And I think that's the only thing that makes me able to say of anything of any worth or any substance to any of my families when somebody they love dies, is that we're caught up in the Lord's death and resurrection. When we're caught up in that, and when we're then suddenly on the other side, we're caught up in it more fully than we've ever been caught up in it before. And so at those moments, I was looking for reassurance. I think that this Easter, I guess, let me think just to reflect for a second. What am I looking for? It's reassurance, but it's a different way. Not in that acute way that I did it when they died. But I think that it's kind of like, in this world that is so torn, this world that is so fractured, and we've just fractured it so much more these last few months, okay? In this world that is so torn and so fractured, you know what I really want? I want hope.
Yeah.
I think that's what I want right now, more than anything else. I think that's what I need this Easter, is hope. Hope. And so what I'm looking for is to believe that all this stuff we do, all the stuff that you do over at St. Paul's, all the stuff I do at St. Peter's and St. Anne's and Sacred Heart, all that stuff, all that work we do with our people, all that work at leading people into discipleship and believing and doing all that stuff, I'm looking for hope. I'm looking for the fact that I gotta believe that we can do it better.
Yeah.
I gotta believe that it can be better. Because I sometimes just want to just, chuck it and say, ugh, is any of this making any sense? Is anything that I'm doing moving the needle at all?
It is. It's moving the needle.
Yeah.
It is. I'm looking for a pair of jeans that fit real well. That's what I'm looking for.
I
Beyond that,
I might take you shopping here in the next couple of weeks or something. I could probably
Beyond
do
that, I would say peace.
Okay.
I would say peace. Personal and world. I mean, is it wrong to just say, I would love world peace?
No.
In fact, one of my early childhood memories is not related to Easter, but Christmas, and it's when I remember as a child, I'm probably 8 years old, and I remember sitting in a Christmas Eve service and saying, God, you can have all my Christmas presents in exchange for world peace.
Wow.
And I remember
it was an act
being
of faith for an 8-year-old. Really, it was.
And I have no idea what led to that, because I was this really obnoxious, terrible kid. And so, but I prayed this prayer.
I'm not really believing it, but it's
okay.
And
I was frightened that night that I was going to wake up the next morning, my presents were going to be gone, because I'd made this deal with God, right? And that I'd have to explain to my parents,
what happened
that they would be panicking. Oh, Aaron, we had gifts for you, and I would have to say, no, it's all right. I made this deal with God, and so there's going to be world peace because, I gave my gifts. And I was afraid, and then I was disappointed when Christmas morning my gifts were still there. I never said anything to anybody.
We never quite get the answers in the way that we want the answers or think the answers do.
So, but here's the thing: I had no idea at that time that I would go into ministry. It would be the last thing in my mind. And so, what I think God did is took me up on that deal, and said, "All right, I'm going to use you in some way to bring peace on this earth."
Well.
And I think God took me up on my deal. You got to be careful what you ask for, what you pray for on Christmas and on Easter, but I think what I'm looking for is peace. I think what I'm looking for too is connection. I long for a deeper connection with God. I've experienced some things end of last year and this year that are connections with God that I never thought were possible. And what I'm thinking now is how does what I've experienced in the last 6 months, how do I help someone else or some others to have a deeper connection too? Because when you get something, when you experience something that's powerful and positive, whether that's you're a Chiefs fan and the Chiefs win and you can't wait to share that and talk with somebody about that, or when something really powerful happens spiritually, I know that it's real when I want to share it with somebody else. I got to tell you the story. I got to share this with you, because I want you to have it too.
Yeah. Well, it's Easter, and I'm talking with my friend Aaron Brown here about the realities of the way that Easter comes to root itself in our lives and how we experience it. So we are going to take a real quick break, but don't go away, because we're not finished talking to each other, and so you're welcome to come back and get some
jelly beans.
There you go. Eat some jelly beans. Come on back.
Hometown on KSN TV, brought to you as a community service and sponsored by Mercy Hospital, Joplin.
Again, we're glad that you're with us on this Easter Sunday morning.
Easter.
It's here. and my good friend Aaron Brown here from St. Paul's United Methodist, and we're talking about what Easter means for us. Now, Aaron, we didn't talk about this before we started recording today, but I was actually I was trying to find the box that my Easter basket was in, and we've buried it under with some other boxes. And I just was trying to find my Easter basket for when I was a kid.
Oh.
And I've still got it, and it's yellow and green, and it was a big one because at the time it was all about, in some ways, what I was going to get in there. And I wanted a nice big basket, even though I didn't pick it out, but I liked that big basket because I knew that was going to get filled
the basket, the more
with some candy. And I loved the fact that it was a big basket because I knew it would hold a lot, okay? And, but it was interesting because now nobody's around to fill that basket the same way that they were when I was a little kid. So the basket doesn't get filled the same way it used to, and a lot of times it just stays in the box. Sometimes I'll get it out as a symbolic reminder to me. But one of the things that I've discovered through the years, and you were just, kind of edging this mystery as you were talking a few minutes ago, was the fact that now, in some ways, I look at that basket and it's about not what other people are going to fill it with, but it's like I look at the basket, even when it's empty, symbolically empty, about what I'm supposed to be given to the rest of the world, how I'm supposed to be sharing that. And you were talking about that in terms of the way that you experience that and the way you experience call and the way that we experience Easter. I feel the same way that, that in some ways, it's kind of like now, even as I was 6 when I first really figured out I was supposed to be a priest. I was just one of those weird little kids that it was just like I was sitting in church going, I can do this. And then by the time I was 8, I was probably saying to myself, no, this is my arrogance, even as a child. I could probably do that better. I can do that.
Yeah.
I think I can do it. Give me a chance, God. I think I can do that better. And really, I just remember sitting there thinking those things. I think if I were talking about this, I'd say this. Even as a little kid, I would think about those things. So I was doomed. I was doomed to do this from the very beginning. But it is, for me, a blessing to be able to share what God gives me, because, that's really what all this is it's just what God gives us. It's the way God works in us. It's the way we let God arrange our lives and in some ways tell us what to say. People think we sit back and, just make stuff up, and that's what we talk about on a Sunday morning. But it's really paying attention.
Don't? Oh, you do something different. Okay.
For me, it's just paying attention to the way God's tracing in my life. And when I can be smart enough to notice it and see how He's tracing in my life, I never have trouble talking about it because, it may take me a little while to figure out. It may take me a little while to name it, or it may take me a little while to get it all polished up or whatever. But when I see what He traces in my life, all I really have to do is reflect on that and reflect on the word that I've been given. And it's just God talking to me, and then I let everybody else in on the process. Really.
Well, that makes me think about, you mentioned process and thinking about it, praying about it. So what has been your process to get ready for today, to get ready for Easter? What are your, because a lot of times, and I know Catholics have very articulated ways of preparing and celebrating Lent. Is even celebrate the right word for Lent?
Yeah, I think so. We talk about it. Even the prayers say it's a joyful season. Of course, most everybody goes, oh God, it's Lent.
Right.
Oh, I don't want to do that.
Because you were called to fast and sacrifice.
Fasting, prayer, and almsgiving. The three scriptural, admonitions that we're all supposed to be doing all the time, not just in preparation for Easter, but during our preparation for Easter, we pay special attention to this. So we pray so that we're trying to get closer to God, and that God knows our heart, and God knows, and we know God's for us. Okay, so it's just getting closer. The more time you spend praying, this is so true for any Christian, or really anybody who prays. If you spend the time, you're gonna experience more of that pull to that.
So what does fasting mean?
Well, fasting then is the second one, and basically fasting for me is always, this is the way I explain it, is that you empty yourself out so that you got room for God.
Right, yeah. Oh, I believe that anytime you give something away, it creates a space that God can fill.
That's right. And if we don't empty ourselves out, most of the time God can't.
Yeah.
So whether it's food, whether it's stuff, whether it's comfort, whether it's just being entertained all the time, sometimes it's just not picking up the book or not turning on the TV or doing that, but just being.
What things qualify as a fast?
I mean, I think anything. I think you can fast from, I mean, a fast is how do you make more space for God by either trying to attain the good things or by getting rid of the things that are getting in your way.
Yeah, we call them the 7-Ups.
Oh, it's your, well, of course, because you've got all these, you probably do 7 Sundays and you probably
You're right,
do
yeah.
some, oh Lord,
give
here
up,
we go
take
again.
up. Give up, take up. It's
Okay.
we use a rhythm, of give up, take up.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean, it works. And is that
give
what
up
you preached about during
media.
Lent?
Right, well, not preached about, but it was something we talked about
Okay.
each week to say,
Yeah.
hey, this week, along with everything that we're teaching today, practice this give up. Give up media for a week. Give up any non-essential spending for a week. Give up a habit that you've been trying to give up for a week. Try it for a week. Whatever
Or
it is.
give up a bad habit. Give up talking
Right,
about people
bad
bad.
habit.
you
Bad
know?
habit.
Give up, yeah.
Right. I mean, you don't want to give up good habit.
No.
And then take up a practice of devotion if you don't have one already to do something. Take up writing thank you notes to people. Take up. I mean, we have 7 of those. Give up, take up, and the last one is take up making Easter a practice of invitation, so that you're inviting someone. That last week, right before Holy Week, that one of the main take-ups is to make Easter a lifestyle, where you're inviting, where you're taking part in Holy Week events.
And it's not just, I mean, really, Easter's not just a day, it's the event of our lives, which is great.
And that's the other thing we tell people over and over again. Don't let Lent, the 40 days, not including Sunday, before today, don't let these be ordinary days. You've got the rest of the year, we do the same thing in Advent though, but the rest of the year in Lent, don't let these be ordinary days. Do something out of the ordinary, maybe just something small, and it's that small thing that suddenly changes your viewpoint, changes how you see. It's kind of that old thing with the angle. If you're heading one direction and you just change a little bit of the angle of your trajectory, I mean, you end up in a whole different place because of that small change. So what does that look like? And, we talk about, we do all these things so that when we arrive on Easter Sunday, it's not like, oh, I didn't know.
I didn't know this.
This is a nice day. I like the lilies, but we arrive at Easter having gone through a time of spiritual house cleaning, because stuff, literal house cleaning, stuff clutters up and piles up, and it happens in our souls too. Let's do some spiritual housekeeping, declutter, and get ready to really celebrate on Easter. Yeah. So all the people that have been fasting, we challenge people to maybe fast 1 day a week or 1 meal a day or whatever that might be. And so the fast is over.
Yeah.
Fast is over.
Well, and this is one of the things I always say, that for us, we get 40 days of fasting, and actually the Sundays don't count. That's why there's more than 40 if anybody actually counts.
So you don't
them
fast
up.
on Sundays?
Well, technically, Sunday's a little Easter. How do you fast on a Sunday?
Right,
it's a little mini Easter, so you can't really fast. How do you fast when the bridegroom's with you on that day? So that's why. But that's why when people look at it, Father, there's more than 40 days in Lent. I'm like, I know the Sundays don't count, and and neither do. Yeah. Like when you get to Holy Thursday, I mean, it's still then the Paschal fast begins. But it's not the Lenten fast. So it's just kind of all those things together. But at any rate, with all that, in terms of that whole thing, the last one of those was almsgiving. So again, how do we do that? But the perspective here is that we had to fast for 40 days, but now we feast for 50.
50 days. Pentecost.
50 days. Yep, 50 days. And so again, like I said, it means we really got our, as I say, it means that we got our priorities in the right place. We do the emptying out, but how do you not celebrate when you really figure out what all this means in your life and where you're going with it? So, yeah.
Yeah.
So the prayer, the fasting, and the almsgiving. And again, these are just ancient practices. Look, the scriptures are right there.
Well, the thing is like in our tradition, we threw a lot of that stuff out. There's a time like, it's just ritual. It's just hollow and shallow, and now we're coming back to it to say it's the practices, behaviors often shape our thoughts. We kind of get it wrong and think it's the other way. Well, I'm going to get my thinking right, and then it'll change my behavior. Most of the time, it's the other way around.
It's interesting. In terms of that whole thing, well, we don't throw out anything, by the way. We've got it.
That's why we need you. That's why we need each other, right?
We do. And again, for what I always say to people in that whole thing of the things you do over and over and over again, if you don't keep your head in the game, liturgy and the way we pray is supposed to wake us up. But if you don't keep your head in that game, along with your heart and with your spirit,
Puts you to sleep.
it puts you to sleep and anesthetizes you rather than wakes you up. And so that's why sometimes the rituals, which are designed to wake us up, if we're not into them, they do the opposite effect. They put us to sleep. And so again, when you're a ritualistic group, you got to make sure that you're always after everybody to not let the rituals do you in. You got to be able to go there. So if you could, we talked a little bit about what Easter means to us. We got about a minute left before we're going to have to start getting ready to go back to all the other things we're going to be doing today. But if you could make one prayer for all the people that are out there watching today for Easter, what would it be?
I would pray that people are powerfully surprised by the power of life and love and resurrection.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah. And that would kind of go along with what I was doing. And this is just based on what I was saying earlier about Jesus maybe being the one that was the most amazed. I'm going to pray that you're absolutely amazed by God's grace today.
Yeah.
I'm going to pray that you feel that Jesus is alive.
Yeah.
I'm going to pray that you can share and rejoice in that with somebody. I'm just going to pray that even if you're not Christian, that you have some joy in your life today. And makes you love the people around you more and more. We're going to be right back after this Mercy Minute. Don't go away.
I was in shock, and in denial, and I couldn't believe it was me. I was healthy, feeling well, but unbeknownst to me, after the colonoscopy, I found out that I had colon cancer. My name is Mario Guerrero. I'm an ethicist. I help people that are in a hospital and the medical staff process some of the difficult situations. In this case, it was the other way around.
Well, I'm glad I caught it earlier.
On my 50th birthday, I had a regular checkup. I wasn't concerned because I felt well. No family history of this type of cancer, and yet I developed this type of cancer. During the process of the colonoscopy, they were able to remove that polyp. And having that done within the hospital setting, they can just address all the issues right there and then. I'm a great believer in early detection. This is such a silent disease, and you really don't necessarily have symptoms. Go get checked. Follow up with your physician. Don't wait.
Well, again, you honor us every time you turn on the TV on a Sunday morning and you spend time with all of us who are involved here with the production of Faith in our hometown. All the folks here at the station, our own production staff, all of our wonderful guests that are with us throughout the year. I'm just grateful that you tuned in this morning for us to share what is the most important day for many of people who celebrate faith in our hometown. All of us who are Christian, we celebrate today as the most important day of the entire year. And I am truly honored, as was my guest, Aaron Brown from over at St. Paul's United Methodist, that you shared some of that morning with us. I do hope and pray that your day is filled with much joy and much life and happiness. Come back and join us again next week for Faith in our hometown.
Happy Easter.
There we go. Happy Easter. And God bless all of you as we come together as people of faith. It's always good for us. Happy Easter.
Thanks for watching. Faith in Our Hometown can be seen Sunday mornings at 6:30 and 9 a.m. on KSN. Brought to you as a community service and sponsored by Mercy Hospital, Joplin.